The wait is slowly coming to an end. In just a few dozen hours, Poland will have a new president. Shortly after being sworn in, Karol Nawrocki plans to get down to work. The inauguration of President Karol Nawrocki will take place on August 6th in Warsaw. From the first day after his inauguration, Karol Nawrocki will meet with Poles to present the first draft bills he spoke about during his election campaign. On August 7th, he will meet in Kalisz, and on August 8th in Kolbuszowa. During the election campaign, Karol Nawrocki repeatedly said that his first legislative initiative would be the Citizens' Project, Yes to the Central Transportation Port. My first legislative initiative when I become president of Poland will be an initiative to return to the Citizens Project for the Central Transportation Port, and at the same time, it will be a bill calling for the restoration of those projects that allowed local Poland to develop during the 8 years of the United Rights Rule, which sought the sustainable development of the Polish state. On the one hand, development. On the other, security and alliances. The priority of the presidential palace's foreign policy will be to strengthen Poland's relations with the United States. It is across the ocean that Karol Nawrocki will go on his first foreign trip. Shortly after the election results were announced, the president-elect spoke on the phone with Donald Trump, so we are preparing for this visit. And on his way to the U.S., the president will certainly pay a symbolic visit to the tomb of John Paul II. Karol Nawrocki has spent the last few weeks completing his cabinet. The last appointment was the position of presidential chaplain, which will be taken up by Salesian priest Jarosław Wąsowicz, organizer of, among other things, pilgrimages of football fans to Jasna Góra. Karol Nawrocki issued an invitation to all Poles to come to the Sejm on the 6th of August and be there on the day he takes office as President of Poland. The situation is already very bad, but the British have decided to fight back. Thousands of native British citizens took to the streets of Manchester to protest against the migration madness, with English and British flags in their hands and demands for mass deportation of immigrants, tighter borders, and improved security.
Before anyone starts asking why I have the Union Jack around me, it's the same protest in Ireland as it is in England. The same people are trying to replace us. So it doesn't matter where you are, you take part in a protest nearest to you, yeah? Well, have a great day, people.
This protest is a cry of despair, but also a strong opposition to the migration policy imposed on British citizens by the Liberals ruling Great Britain. Illegal immigrants have turned people's lives into hell, assaulting, raping, and terrorizing residents. Just 2 weeks ago, a 38-year-old immigrant from Ethiopia molested a 14-year-old girl on the street. There are many similar stories. European nations are waking up from a very long slumber. Citizens' protests are not directed against people of other cultures or religions. They are directed against the weakness of their own governments, which have led to mass non-European immigration on their own soil. A wave of immigration has literally flooded British cities and towns. Crime has risen, and there are now so many newcomers from the Middle East and North Africa that they are beginning to take over and impose their rules. We must call a spade, say desperate Britons. The current migration policy is nothing more than an Islamic occupation. In my opinion, this process is inevitably heading in two directions. Either Islamists and the Muslim population will take over the government and impose their laws, customs, and religion on the local population, or at some point there will be an explosion and something resembling a civil war. Similar protests to those in Manchester took place in Ireland. The situation here is just as dramatic. The mass influx of Islamic immigrants has led to changes in social structures. There are already places where the indigenous population is in the minority.
Number of tourists travelling to Ireland, it's down 18% from all major overseas markets between January and April of this year when you compare those figures to last year.
Tourists want to see beautiful green Ireland, not a Muslim third world country, say the island's residents, who are demanding an immediate end to the open door policy for Islamic immigrants. The Irish and English are increasingly speaking with one voice on the issue of immigrants, and that voice is one of opposition to a policy that is destroying both countries from within. Under no circumstances should we allow ourselves to be persuaded that protesting against immigration, both legal and illegal, is tantamount to spreading anarchy or hatred. The Western left supports mass immigration because it sees it as a new, cheap, and obedient electorate. Under the influence of this immigration, the French left has become totally anti-French, anti-Republican, and even anti-Semitic. This also applies to the British left. That is why the residents of Spanish towns have already taken matters into their own hands. Faced with the inaction of the left-wing authorities and the police, they decided to deal with Islamic immigrants themselves. The spark that started the fire was the brutal beating of an elderly man by Moroccan immigrants. There is no forgiveness, no explanation for beating this man. The man who was beaten could have been my father, my grandfather, your grandfather. It could have been someone from my family or yours. We cannot allow what these occupiers are doing. More and more people are recognizing the threat in Spain, France, Sweden, and the United Kingdom. However, for most countries, especially in Western Europe, it may already be too late to save them. The Jubilee of Youth in Rome. A moving testimony to the goodness, perseverance, and unwavering faith of the younger generation. Proof of the new strength of the Catholic Church, brought by the recently elected Pope Leo XIV. 25 years ago, in this same place, John Paul II said, "When you dream of happiness, you are looking for Jesus." He is waiting for you when nothing you find satisfies you. He is the beauty that attracts you so much. He awakens in you the desire for radical choices that do not allow you to compromise. Hundreds of thousands of young people, after yesterday's evening vigil, spent the night under the open sky in the same place in Tor Vergata, waiting for another meeting with the Pope.
And I can take in my heart the words of the Pope when he said that God chose us. And I can feel chosen by God and loved. I can really feel the love of God.
It was an intense experience, full of gazes of other young people that truly conveyed hope, and such gazes are not encountered every day. In the morning, the Pope reappeared on the giant campus in Tor Vergata for a mass ending the Jubilee of Youth in Rome. The Roman authorities reported that the number of young pilgrims had definitely exceeded 1 million.
It's just amazing to see just how big the world church is and how many people are here just believing in God.
I like the new Pope. I'm actually converting, so I'm not Catholic yet. So the Pope gives me really hope for a new future for all people. Seeing him yesterday, being 5 meters from him, he really gives out the energy that is a hope for us all, I think.
Pope Leo XIV feels perfectly at ease among young people. He knows how and what to talk to them about. During the meetings in Rome, he spoke to them alternately in Italian, English, and Spanish, as well as Portuguese and French. He spoke about the threats posed by the modern world, but also about the opportunities it offers. Fullness is more related to what we accept with joy and what we share. Buying, accumulating, and consuming are not enough. We must raise our eyes, look up at the things that are above. The Italian press is delighted with both the youth meeting in attendance, as well as with Pope Leo XIV. It makes a spectacular impression. Churches may be half empty, but the fact is that wonderful young people from 146 different countries have come to listen to Leo XIV and find their own way to Christ. In these times of war, in these times of TikTok, it is a sign that perhaps all is not lost for this generation, traveling down the foolish highway of the internet, with their eyes glued to their phones. If this Jubilee is to be not just a successful event with high attendance, but a real turning point, then the Church, in talking to young people, must begin to listen to them seriously. Listen to their questions, their concerns, their language, and then it must observe them carefully. How they dress, how they interact on social media, how they live their faith, or how they are no longer able to live it. Over 20,000 young pilgrims from Poland participated in the Roman Jubilee for youth. 10 of them were present with the Pope during yesterday's evening vigil. It always makes an incredible impression, because on the one hand, we laughed with our friends that he is a human like any other, but on the other hand, he is the successor of St. Peter, and the very fact that 1 million young people came to meet him also has some significance. The Jubilee of Youth in Rome is the first such large event during the pontificate of Pope Leo XIV, and also his first meeting with young people from around the world. After the ceremony, Pope Leo XIV, clearly moved by the meeting, once again came out and greeted the young pilgrims. Today, we also learned the date of the next World Youth Day.
In Korea. Applausi tanti coreani presenti.
It will begin in the South Korean capital, Seoul, in exactly 2 years, on August 3rd, 2027. Children are happy. Drivers are definitely less so. Several Australian cities were covered with a blanket of snow, not seen in decades, after snowstorms raged in the eastern part of the country over the weekend, causing flooding, immobilizing vehicles, and cutting off power to thousands of homes. A cold front from Antarctica brought as much as 40 centimeters of snow to northern New South Wales. Such amounts of snow have not been seen there since the 1980s. Many people traveled hundreds of kilometers to see snow for the first time in their lives.
It's a very surreal experience. I've always dreamt about going to the snow. I've never seen snow before in my entire life. And it really is a surreal experience.
For the first time in 10 years, snow also fell in the neighbouring state of Queensland. The weather in Australia has become much more changeable in recent years, but such events have occurred several times in history.
He said pack a bag because we're getting in the car to go see some maybe snow. And he gets home from work between midnight and 2 a.m. So woke me up at 1 a.m, got in the car, drove down, saw some snow, saw some deers, and then he proposed. Give us a look.
The children were delighted. They had snowball fights and built snowmen. However, the joy was not shared by drivers and rescue workers, who intervened more than 1,500 times. Several hundred vehicles were stuck in the snow. Tens of thousands of households were cut off from electricity.
That's beautiful. It's lovely. And yeah, I've never seen anything like this before. It's gorgeous, yeah.
Winter in Australia lasts from June to August, with July being the coldest month. But snow outside mountainous areas is a real rarity. Yesterday, some regions saw up to 50 centimeters of snow, while others saw 100 liters of rain per square meter. Today, weather conditions have improved slightly.